So today we speak with Khulan. She is founder of Lamour, which is a natural skincare brand. And we were really pleased to be here today with you. And we would like to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
So how did it all start that you wanted to build your own startup, your own brand? What happened?
So I came back in 2012 after doing my master's in the States, and soon after started to have allergies and skin problems, which I never had in my whole life before, which was very shocking to me. Until then, I never really cared about skincare or like just I don't use anything. And it really started to become a question, okay, what is happening to my skin? What is the skin? I was talking to doctors and they were advising me to use very mild natural skincare, which I couldn't find in Mongolia because here either you use very cheap or very expensive synthetic products. So I talked to a lot of people in my surroundings and realized it's a big problem because there's no education about the skin. Nobody really knows what to use and why they use what they use. Most of the people use something just because their friend uses it, for example. So it kind of started to become a real passion. And I then actually made it even more professional and got a diploma in organic skincare formulation from a British school. And just realized that it's something that I can do because I can make a product. It's something that's not in Mongolia, so there's a wide gap, and it's something that could solve people's problems. And that's how it started, and that's how I founded my company in 2014 in my kitchen.
Okay, in the kitchen. And when we jump now to 2018, where is your startup now? What is your biggest challenge right now, and maybe also what did you achieve so far?
Yes, so it's been 4 years, almost 5 years. We are now with a team of 30 people. We have 3 flagship stores in the city and 7 other distribution retail stores. We currently export to 5 countries and hopefully by the end of the year we'll have a total of 8 countries.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We have an amazing global distributor team of people that actually I think that has been a great success for me personally. It's people that have become entrepreneurs themselves in their own countries. They even quit their job and they said they always wanted to do something passionate, but they didn't want to like kind of join an NGO or something. They always wanted to do business but passionate. And after having some kind of relationship with our brand, they said, this is what I wanted to do. This is my passion. I want to give back in my own country to the community, but still do a business. So that has been great. We had a lot of accomplishments. We were featured on NHK World. They made a documentary about us. We were featured on Deutsche Welle, the German TV, with Founders Valley. We were featured in Singapore, for example. We were featured in a lot of international magazines as a beauty brand that gives back to society, and that's environmentally friendly. And we also had a lot of international awards, but I think the greatest thing was that we had a lot of customers that changed their way of living.
Yeah, that's a big success.
After finding us, basically. I think that has been a great success, and my personal success is that we have 30 people that work in this team.
Nice. And being a founder and having also responsibility now, what are maybe 1, 2 big learnings you had on your road to where you are now?
I think that you only understand certain things when you do it yourself. So a lot of people don't understand what it means to have a business. They dream about being a founder or a director or a CEO or like anything. But it's very, very tough, of course. I think after having my own startup, it really changed me in the way I am as a person, my way of thinking about even life. Before I used to take a lot of things for granted. I used to value other things, but now, for example, when you have the responsibility of having to pay salary for 30 people, knowing that they have a family, then you value things in life much more differently. You value even challenges much more differently. When I used to just be an employee, I had challenges that now I would want to have. Now my challenges are so much greater, but ever since you understand that you are responsible for somebody else's life, and even the customers that you provide your products to, and even your global distributor team that quit their job because of what you have created, it really gives you a greater sense of life and a greater sense of vision and of what you can achieve, and it really shows you the sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's true. You told us before the interview that you really work also a lot because there are always so many things to do, and especially as a founder you have many responsibilities. What do you do to keep your balance? Like, do you have some tricks? Do you have some hobbies that helps you? What is there that you can use for your own balance?
So I worked day and night for 3 years in a row. I worked on my birthday, I worked on New Year's Eve, national holidays. I worked every day. After 3 years, I realized in order to really be, first of all, a good leader, and second of all, reach my vision, I need to be healthy. Because, of course, when you work every single day and night, you become sick.
Yeah.
You become depressed, you become lonely, and it's not good for your mental health. And you have to be healthy mentally and physically to be an inspiration to your employees, to keep up with the good work. And so after 3 years, so basically last year, I started working efficient and not much. So not keeping many hours, but within the time frame that I have, being very efficient, not roaming around on social media, not like just sitting there and thinking about music or something, but really working efficient. And then my rule that I established last year was, when I go home, I don't talk about work and I don't do work.
Okay.
When I'm home, I'm home. When I'm, for example, at the movies, I concentrate on the movies. When I'm with my friends, I concentrate on my friends.
So I also understand, like, it's also about kind of being in the moment. When you are at work, you have focus at work. When you are somewhere else, you allow yourself to be where you are in that moment.
Exactly. Because I mean, as a founder, your brain never stops. Even at night, you think about what happened during the day, what's going to happen tomorrow. So you have to kind of actively pursue that balance and your peace of mind, because otherwise you go crazy. And you have to really make sure that you don't always think about work. Because I think keeping your mental and physical health is really important to reach your vision and to be a good leader.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think also adding on that, and I think you have the same experience, you need some shift of context sometimes to get new ideas.
Exactly.
Because when you're always focusing on the same thing, you cannot think outside of the box. So you need some distance to have these moments.
Yeah, especially as I think an entrepreneur, you want to always keep the focus of innovation and not have the brain drain and start to burn out. I think burnout is the most scary thing for an entrepreneur, because you don't want to have that. So yeah, especially in Mongolia, I love to go to the countryside, gain energy from the nature, because nature is the inspiration that we create here. So nature is a huge inspiration for me. I go to the countryside almost every weekend. I have a dog now, so I take my dog to the countryside. Actually, having a dog is really good, because people that have dogs,
you need to make breaks,
are more active.
Yes.
You just to take out the dog, you walk. So that has been very great. And I also do sports. I try to do sports to really focus on the balance.
When you look at modern ways of working, and especially in startups, you work more modern than in more traditional companies, obviously. What is the beauty of modern work for you?
Um, well, I mean, for example, with my company, what I try to create is I tell my people when it's time to go home, just go home, because as I mentioned, it's about efficiency. So what did was we created 4 values, because I mean throughout the 4 years we had so many people come in and out, and we kind of realized which kind of person fits our Lamour team.
Yeah.
So the 4 values that we created was efficiency, people that take care of their own health, people that are always striving for new things, and people that care for others.
Okay.
So I think by creating these shared values and by really making sure this is what we do and this is what you can contribute, and by making sure you don't have to work for hours and hours and hours or try to get the work done. It's more about being happy while working. I want my team to have, even if it's 1 year or 5 years or 50 years together with us, I want them to look back and say, I achieved something by working at this company, and not just saying I have to go to work and when is it gonna end. I really want people to feel valued, and I want them to create value, and I think that's what lately a lot of startups are doing differently. It's not just about that filler in the seat. It's more about who's this human being that is, voluntarily part of this journey and part of this vision. So I think modern work is really about value and passion and vision.
Yeah. And I also hear that you also think like purpose driven is one important part of knowing why you are doing what you are doing, right?
Exactly.
When you know why you are doing it, it's way easier also to have some rough times because you know the why behind it. And of course you always need then also to focus back on yourself and on your own values.
Exactly.
Maybe last question. You already said that of course you have to make many mistakes yourself as a founder because you will have your own unique problems and issues. But maybe you also have a tip for future entrepreneurs and founders, what you would like to tell them?
Well, it definitely is learning by doing. As I mentioned, having a startup myself changed me as a person. The person I was 4 years ago is not the same. As I mentioned, 4 years ago when I had a small problem, I thought the world is ending. Now, what I learned to do, which helped me a lot in terms of growing as a business person, is I take every challenge that comes up as a lesson that needs to be learned. And every time there's a challenge, I say to myself, I need to get over this lesson, and the better I can do it, the better it will be. And when I started changing my mind towards that, it really created a wave of like positive outcomes
and opportunities.
And opportunities, because of course there will be challenges, of course there will be mistakes. You will have people that betray you, you will make mistakes that will hurt others, you will hurt your brand sometimes. There will be things that have nothing to do with you that will hurt your brand. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you really know your vision, you just have to grow, yourself and get over it and try to be better the next day and try to be better from the person you were yesterday. So I think a lot of people get stuck with challenges and mistakes. They think it's the end of the world, or they think, why is it happening to me? I'm the only one kind of suffering. But then everywhere around the world, when you see successful, let's say, business people, they have been through millions of greater challenges than we would ever imagine.
But they didn't stop, right?
They never stopped, and they always learned from it. So I actually had to learn this. It was not easy, but after around 2-3 years, it really started to click. So never give up and just focus on your vision.
Thank you very much for the inspirational insights and all the best.
Thank you very much.